mothers don't get the respect that they should, because we're out here creating little people.
We should be having like shrines and temples set up to us. And I don't know where, I mean.
We have to clean it up. I mean, do we really need to have this conversation? Look at what we have now. I mean, social media it's just nuts. I mean, we didn't have this back then. I didn't have a cell phone when I was a kid. I didn't have a computer. And it's completely different, I think people are stressing more. You know, it's harder to get jobs. It's harder for this, and not even to mention what's going on with the pandemic.
We're learning it at the same time as our children. There's something new every week. I mean, even Zoom, when everything happened and everything shut down, and suddenly I have to figure out, my kid's like, well, my link is not working. And it's like, as if I know how to fix it. Like I'm learning it at the same time you're learning it. So there's a famous phrase, and I don't know who came up with it first, but it used to be the boogeyman lived down the street and you knew, oh, I avoid that house, or I don't go out after a certain time. Well, now the boogeyman, we've invited them into our homes. And with one click of this thing, you can have access to multitudes of worlds, and you can't control. I mean, it's just impossible for us to be able to monitor it. So while the basics have stayed the same, I mean, hello, we know they need to be fed, we know they need to have clothes, we know that they need to sleep 12 hours a day, whatever it is, there are so many other factors coming at us that, you know, it's kind of tempting to be like, I'm going to go live in the middle of nowhere and we're going to be like, I don't know, recluses just with our family, because sometimes that just seems like the safer option.
Right.
Yeah. We don't have control anymore of when things should be or when things can be exposed to our kids. It's just because now it's just everywhere and it's so easy. We really don't have that control anymore.
Everything is so accessible. It makes our children more lazy to me. Like, it's like I have to do more work to motivate them to go and do other things. You know, like back in the day, it wasn't easy to get me out the house. Like I was gone. Now I have to motivate them even more. Like, why don't you go outside? You know, like, why don't you go ride your bike? Why don't you go play basketball in the driveway? Why don't we go bowling? Why are we gonna do all this other stuff? Because these kids are more happy just staying at home, playing on their games, gaming with their friends through the headset, and, you know, playing at home. They're like, it makes our kids more lazy, I think, in this day and age. Back,
you know, before the internet, there were basically like three options. Your kid is hungry, your kid is tired, or your kid needs a diaper change. Now you type in, why won't my kid stop crying? And you have access to billions of people's opinions. And suddenly, oh, well, I really thought this was just a diaper rash, but now it looks like it could be chemical poisoning from the sunscreen that I used at the park. Like, the bunny
it's scary you.
So wild. So in terms of is it harder to parent, I think that's a huge factor, because we have women who are nervous wrecks. We don't trust ourselves anymore. We're constantly second guessing, taking in noise, and we don't know always how to quiet it, because everything has become important. Everything is now, high stakes, everything. I believe in self-care. I believe in balance and everything. I believe that if I'm not good, then my kids are not good. So if I'm not able to pour into myself emotionally and mentally, then I'm not going to be at my best for them. So I definitely agree with taking time for yourself, even if it's just, you know, going into the room and leave me alone for an hour. I'm gonna go outside and ride my, you know, or something. Like, I just need some balance, because mentally I want to be strong for my children. So I don't mind, you know, putting myself, you know, first in that instance, because everything that I am that's positive, I pour into them. So agree with that. And I think we spend so much, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom. I mean, all moms work incredibly hard no matter what. I think we got to stop this competition between working moms and stay-at-home moms and bonus moms. We're all in it. Like, we're just we're doing it together. but we really do pour ourselves into these kids. We give our minds and bodies and whatever the same. And so to then assume that we're not human beings anymore, I just think it doesn't do our families any good. It doesn't do our husbands any good if we're just like this amorphous blob that only serves our children and just gives and gives and gives. They're not getting the best of us, and we're surely not living a life. And I do like to make the caveat that when people talk about self-care, especially with moms, not all of us have an option to go take a 3-hour bubble bath and leave the kids with dad or with, a partner. Not all of us have the option to spend $100 a month to a gym to go exercise for 3 hours to, get our stress out. So I get frustrated when it's marketed to moms as, well, what's the matter? You can't. And you're like, I'm covered in spit up. I haven't showered in 3 days. And now you want to tell me I need to go light some candles and have a moment. There is no moment. My moment is in the bathroom. And even then I've got 3 kids around me going, where are you, mommy? It's right. So no, I don't feel guilty because I do know that those moments are so hard and we work so hard for our families. So to take time for ourselves to become a human, to be able to return to them as our best selves, it's a gift for everyone involved.
Yeah, I agree. And don't think when we're away from the kids, we're not already thinking of them constantly anyway. Right? So even if we're not physically around them, we're still thinking about what's going on at home or what's happening. It's
like when you finally get a date night when you're with your husband and you're staring at each other and you're like, well, I guess we'll talk about the kids now. I don't know what else to talk about.
I feel guilty, and it doesn't mean that I don't take time for myself, but it doesn't change the fact that I do still feel guilty. I think about all my mom did for my brother and myself, and she took us everywhere. And so now here I am with 4 children, and I want them. My 22-year-old, I had her in cheerleading and karate and soccer and acting and in this and in that and in this. So now here I have these other 3 little ones, and I want to give them the same opportunity. And unfortunately, that means that sometimes that's at the disservice to myself, because if I spend so much time doing so much for them, then yeah, I may have to sneak off to the bathroom every now and again to read a book or to cry in peace. But nevertheless, I feel like this part of my life is for them. And I'm just gonna grab a piece for Aliya when I can, because I want them to have. And I don't ever want them to grow up and feel like I didn't give them their very best, my very best in what they needed. I don't want them to resent us. And I don't even really think about my husband much because I'm mom, and there's nobody like mom. So I'm gonna make sure you get everything that you need. And I know somewhere out there, there'll be an opportunity for me to get what I need. And I have girls. I agree with you. I have all girls. I have 4 girls. And who else is going to teach them this journey of becoming a woman? Who else is going to teach them? Dad is going to do the best that he can, but heaven forbid he's got to comb a ponytail out and I'm not around. Oh my gosh, I am just scared to death as to how these kids are going to look if he's got to take them out of the house and I haven't had a chance to put my eyes on them, put my hands on them, pick the clothes out, wash their face, tell them what they need to do. I'm just mom, y'all, and I have to be there. I have to be there for my kids.
I'm very, very fortunate to have a pretty tight village around me. So much so that I look to instill some of those things and some of those values and those just those basic relationships that I have with my family. I strive to emulate that with my children. So, and I know that that's not the case for everyone. I'm very, very fortunate. But I am a young mom. I had my first kid when I was 21. And without my family, I really don't know where I would be.
I grew up in a really strict household. And so with that, and being a young teenager and doing what I want to do, there was a lot of lying that happened. And so I felt like I couldn't have a lot of conversations with my parents. And so knowing that, wanted to raise my son with a very open relationship. And I want him to be able to, tell me anything and not feel bad or not feel judged or not second guessed.
I would wonder, why didn't my mom ask why, I started my period? Why was that such a secret? When I had my first boyfriend, why did I hide that? So, with our children, we've always been very vocal and very communicative from the very start. Didn't make fun of them, didn't tease them, but said, you can come and talk to me. One of mine got in a car accident. I was the first phone call. One of them did something stupid and took someone's car, had their permission, but not mom and dad. First one he called was was me. So I know that the communication has been established from day one.
Strongly disagree.
It's
a tone. Like no one, it's like mothers sometimes are treated like that's just what you're supposed to do. We get like you just supposed to, you're supposed to do that, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do, like no, mothers don't get the respect I think that they should, because we're out here like really like creating little people. Okay. Yeah. And that are growing up into functional beings in this society that, it's almost like teachers, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't get the credit that they deserve. And they're such an integral part, of your child's upbringing, not taken away from the dad. Like we know you're important, but moms, we're more in tune with our emotions and our thoughts and our processes than a man is. And I'm not going to apologize for that. It just is, And I don't think that we get the credit that we deserve as women in that mother's role.
COVID now and kids at home. Yeah. Oh. And it's automatic. The mom stays home with the kids. It's automatic.
Yeah. But when the man does, oh my gosh, he stayed home with his kids. He has a different career now. And it's like, wait a second. Wait, why does it matter if it's the mom or the dad? That's another thing. But I think our biggest thing, even before COVID, is pinpointing the moms against each other. You're better because you're a stay-at-home mom. You're better because you work and you need that time away. You're better because you breastfeed. You're not good because you don't, because you breastfeed. It's always like a pinpoint, and it's never a, you're doing a great job. You're doing all that you can. Your children are halfway dressed, because I won't ever tell you my boys are fully dressed.
Like they're alive. They made it today. Okay. I think they did good.
I look at it from the children's perspective as well, because I'm a stay-at-home mom and my husband works, and I'll hear the children, when we get together and we pray, and they're like, thank you, God, for daddy going out and making money so we have a place to live. And I'm like, okay, so just because I stay at home with you, I'm still a photographer. I get up and I do work. I just don't have the hours that he has. And I'm up here talking to little kids. I'm like, how dare you make it seem like, God just covered daddy because daddy's out there in those streets and he's working hard so that we have a place to live. We're not starving. And then, at the same time, also with the kids, I'm the one that's with them all the time. So I have to yell. So they look at me as the bad person. I'm frustrated because I've been with you all day and I'm trying to work and I have to make sure that dinner is ready. When daddy comes home, oh my goodness, I wish you guys could see. It's like a TV show. When daddy's walking through the door, they run at him, they jump in his arms and daddy, it's daddy daughter time. And they're so excited to see him. When I go to the grocery store and I come back home, they're looking at what's in the bags.
What food did you make me?
I just think it's interesting that people tend to forget that humanity truly could not continue were it not for moms. And I just often wonder why we get just a Hallmark holiday. We should be having like shrines and temples set up to us. And I don't know where,
we have to clean it up.
We would.
But it really is a sacred position that I think in the modern era has become, and I don't know what the cause of it, I don't know where it happened, but now it's just, well, you can do it all. And it's like, but wait a minute, what I'm doing is pretty impressive, And I think we often forget that women have come so far and gotten so many amazing opportunities. And at the crux of that fight is the fight for choice. You can choose to stay home if that's what you want to do. And that's fine. Why are you going to, criticize my choice. You can choose to go into the workforce and do what you want to do. And I think sometimes we forget that, like, hello, this is what we've been fighting for. Why are we now being pit against one another? But I just think all moms are magical. I think the things that women are able to wake up every day and fight through, fight against, and fight for, it's just amazing. And I'm honored to be in the club.
Wow, what an awesome experience with so many powerful women. You know, like, we had differences of opinion, but so much in common.
We all come from different places in the United States, and we all have different families and different settings. So I thought it was really unique that most of our opinions were the same.
You can meet strangers and maybe not have anything else in common with them, but the second you know you are in the mom club, you can have endless discussions.
Here was a panel of women from all over the country who were able to come together and be like, oh yeah, that happens to me too.
We need more conversations like this. I think that it was beneficial. I think that it's helpful to get different opinions from different people's backgrounds.
I walked away from this experience reminded that even in those moments of motherhood where we feel alone, or we feel like our kids are the only ones who don't listen, or they're the only ones who throw tantrums, or they're the only ones who fight you on screen time, whatever the case may be, we're not alone.
Mothers are important. You know, mothers are the only way that we'll be able to continue, you know, on in this beautiful world that we live in.
You know, like, we're mothers, and that in itself is a superpower.
We really are rock stars. What else can I say? We're great.